But yeah, it looks like knight b3 is the only move, so I'm not sure why it's being delayed. On knight b5,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, that's another move.
So
And
there's
now
a
I guess we
counter
can,
threat on c7 now.
yeah. Now we can go knight c, yeah, knight b c3.
So knight c3, but after a6, what's happening?
I think knight a3. That's the move, I guess.
Okay, there's knight a3, and then c3 would have
Okay.
been hanging. Yeah. So
Now
a6
we
would have
go.
looked very critical because knight a3 wasn't possible because of takes, and then the knight on a3
Oh
hangs.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I will look that.
But
Yeah.
now it
So
looks like,
what was the response then to a3,
yeah,
a6?
I'm not sure. I think the knight would have been able to come back to d4 at that
Yeah,
point.
the queen is yes, that was
Yeah.
possible.
But now it looks like the game's calmed down quite a lot. Everybody got kind of developed.
Mm.
So white kind of got their normal space advantage, good control of the center. I'd say it ended up being kind of a successful opening for white.
Yeah, I was hoping for opposite side castles, like castle.
Yeah.
Now it will be a relatively calmer game.
Yeah,
Let's see.
opposite side castles is pretty unlikely once the pawn gets to c4 because the white king would just not be safe over there anymore.
That's true.
So yeah, I'd probably expect probably f3 here because otherwise, I think knight with black's last move, now knight g4 is a big threat. The square was previously undefended, but now the bishop's covering that. So knight g4 now looks like a fantastic move from black, hitting this bishop here on e3 and also targeting the knight on d4. So
Yeah,
it's going to be a pretty big problem to deal with, but Eamon opts for bishop d7 instead.
this was a pretty successful opening for black, I guess.
Yeah,
Where
I
then,
think it was a big chance just missed then. Now it's kind of uh
but after knight g4, what happens if like knight d takes c6? Like I hit the queen, and
yeah,
what was the
probably it would
idea?
just be like a recapture like b takes c6, improving black's control of the center.
And then I go bishop, and then I basically, if I want to save the bishop, I can
Yeah,
go bishop b2.
you could save the bishop, but it's probably in black's favor to induce that trade on c6.
Yeah, you get the open b file attack on the b2 one,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
Interesting.
so you have to be a bit careful here. There's a kind of threat on c3. Is black willing to give up the bishop? Not clear.
Yeah, bishop. Yeah,
Probably
he
myself, I
gets.
would take it, I think.
I mean, then what about like the holes? I immediately play bishop h6
Yeah,
for a pawn.
there would be some weaknesses, but
The dark squares. Yeah,
you can play f6, you can move your rook away. I think black should be able to defend.
yeah. Black also has a minute advantage on the clock.
Yeah, black's
Interesting.
doing very well on the clock.
I think knight Bardwaj. Yeah.
It's a very strange approach.
Um, I think white has to somehow activate the light square bishop.
Yeah, this is a big
That's
problem. It's very trapped right now. Black's got a really clear plan. Um, just targeting this c pawn.
this is like hard to come up with an idea. If he can trade off the light square bishop, then maybe you can get some play on the b5 as white. Otherwise, like
Yeah.
that pawn is absolutely secure. I don't see any idea for white, I
Yeah,
guess.
I'd probably start off just put the king in the corner, make the king
Mhm.
safer, just see what black's going to do because it's not really super clear how black's going to improve either. Queen f2 is
Yes,
also reasonable.
preparing, yeah, bishop. But yeah, you can't really play. I think you could have gone bishop d4 there. Yeah,
Certainly. Now, are we
still
going to see queen g5? Okay, queen e6.
going e6.
Feels very, very vulnerable. Kind of, I feel like Black's coordination is broken here. Okay, watch out for knight b3. Pretty big threat on the board.
Yes.
So we see the trade.
But that was, I think, favorable for black. The
I
only
think so as
thing white
well.
had going for them, yeah. No, it's a big advantage for black now.
That being said, the pawn is still kind of loose. The king still long term it's weak, even though there's no more bishop.
That's true,
Um,
but like white is already one pawn down, I guess, and this is a second pawn.
It's worth
yeah,
mentioning Black is also up on time by quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah, up a whole minute.
yeah, I
Let's,
think two pawns might be a bit too much.
yes.
Now this bishop just got opened is also good news for black. You could consider maybe just e6, stop those pawns in their tracks.
I think white will immediately and then opt for some b5 play. Why did it? Yeah, he could have traded the bishops there, as I thought. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe we'll see black fight for the d file now, try to activate that.
Hmm.
Definitely this queen needs to be improved. It's kind of a bit offside at the moment. Oh, that's a very passive
Yeah,
move. C5 is hanging. Oh, big threat on
exactly.
B7 as well.
B7 double attacked.
That might have been a pretty big slip up from Eamon.
Yeah, you can't really say that, right?
Okay, but bishop takes B7 is going to win an exchange.
No, it's
Unless
not.
Rook
You
D8.
can play, yeah, rook d8.
Rook D8.
Yeah,
Rook D8, you can, yeah, interesting. You can still take A8 maybe.
yeah, yeah. Then you can take the, then white can take the c5 pawn though.
Yeah, go for the past C pawn play. Okay, here we go. That
Very
C
interesting.
pawn's super dangerous. If it could get supported by a bishop on B7, it's going to run down the board really fast.
Yeah, I thought like black maybe missed some chances there, but white needs to make a move. Okay, he was on 1 second.
This is
Nice.
super double-edged position.
Yeah, thankfully the black bishop is on f5 guarding the c8 square. So that's
Yeah.
That
okay.
C
I
pawn
think I
rolling down
think
the
I think
board.
white is gonna I think white is gonna flag. Just two
That's
seconds. Like he literally made the move on 0.2 seconds. Okay.
that was a good
He
call.
flagged. Yeah, yeah, he flags.
Yeah.
That was
Well done, Eamon. White was under pressure for a really long time, even though they might have got back into the game at some point. Being under pressure on the clock for such a large amount of time eventually took its toll.
yeah, I think the queen b6 was the surprise for white here.
Yeah, I just want to look at a
I
couple
think
key
he
moments of the game. So Queen B6 first
Interesting.
of
yeah,
all.
he took a minute there, I guess, right? Somewhere around a minute.
About 37 seconds spent
Yeah.
after Queen B6. Um, yeah, I would have I feel like Knight B3 might have been a safer move.
Yeah.
Um, just
But
keeping things under control. Knight
no,
B5,
after knight
yes.
b6, what happens to bishop takes b2?
Well, the queen is under threat.
Queen is under attack.
Yes, queen. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Knight b5, knight b3 are both playable in this position. It's not
yeah,
one is not better than the other. And the dark square bishop exchange, I did not. I mean, I didn't expect him to grab the dark square bishop for the pawn, but the position is okay even after that. I should have played rook c1 instead of allowing that capture, because in Morozzi-Bind, generally uh, black strategy is always inferior. Here I just should have, after trading the knight, just rook c1 would have been
yeah.
okay.
So I was thinking there was a big opportunity missed here, kind of overlooked by both sides to play Knight G4. And
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it
And
might have
f3.
been, yeah, it might have been kind of forced to capture C6, but I think this is definitely a favorable trade for black.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Um,
guess, I guess at this
but
point,
then Bishop
because
D7 kind of
f3.
overlooked it.
So after a3, even so after Did I play f3 here? I don't think so, right?
No, a3
After
here. I was
a3?
expecting f3, certainly. It's a much more thematic
Yeah,
move.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
So after f3, a3, b5, b4 is coming, and then rook c1 plant on a safe square. So I messed up a move order a little here. I'm not shouldn't allow.
Yeah, now it's kind of maybe more just like an equal position. But this, yeah, this cap, so the capture on c3, you didn't want to allow it.
Yeah, actually the resulting position I did not like because of my bad light square bishop.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, that's what we were talking about in the commentary as well. You would have good compensation, except the light square bishop's not very good.
Yeah, and I was very low on time to create something here. So all the time I was, and by the time I think even after winning the like winning the b7 pawn, I was lost out.
Yeah, it was kind of became quite a scramble. It was very messy around here. Wasn't really clear what was going on. But yeah, it was 2 pawns up for black. Should be a way
Yeah,
through.
but after e5, I think he gave some compensation because this maneuver bishop e4 and bishop f5 is not really the strongest, I guess.
Yes, I think it was a big mistake to bring the bishop to f5. The bishop was already on the long
Yeah,
diagonal, the best
it was
diagonal
on
on
the
the board.
best diagonal. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So this allowed me chances to get back.
Yeah, I was
Slightly.
I was expecting just challenging the open file.
Yeah.
Because actually the white king is going to be quite unsafe if white gives up their back rank.
True.
Yeah. Okay, I think we
Yeah,
are getting ready for the next game.
yeah. I think
So
Goku will be.
I can see we've got Fabian ready.
Yeah, Gokul will be playing the next game. Gokul, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, okay. So I guess you can challenge Fabian.
Do we have the challenge coming through?
Yeah, they can disconnect their audio. Yes. बंद कर देगी. The game hasn't started, has it?
I don't think so. I put Fabian's username in the chat.
I'm sending the challenge.
Okay.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your rating, Kyle, on chess.com? Like, do you play often?
I need to play
Um,
black, right?
Yeah. You'll be black.
Okay.
yeah, I don't play too much on chess.com. I guess I'd usually be around 2,300, something like that.
So, what's your FIDE? Do you play FIDE?
2,100.
Oh, okay. So you're close to the candidate master title, right?
Pretty close,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
So how long have you been playing?
Um, about 9 years at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, you expand the options next to the microphone and leave computer audio. Okay, it looks like we've got the game started. Okay, here we go. So we've got an Alep defense, Fabian on the white side. So yeah, I think in this position, it's probably still okay to go bishop e2. The pawn's not hanging yet because there's going to be the bishop transferred to this long diagonal. It's actually quite a sharp opening, but I know it's very typical that often white's going to try to capture this pawn to relieve the pressure on their center. But I think actually even in the previous position, taking on c5 was an option. e5 is a very aggressive move. I would guess just pawn takes looks pretty good for white. I'm trying to work out what the line that black is trying to rely on here. Because pawn takes, queen d1, you can just do bishop d1.
Yeah, in the end, the b7 pawn is hanging, I guess, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really see it exactly. I was wondering if they were trying to get like takes, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop b7, and then knight d3 check, but that didn't seem to be working. There was just king e2 and the rook protects the bishop. So it looks like not the cleanest pawn for white, but it is an extra pawn. A bit behind in development though still.
What about like simply pawn b6, maybe attack? Yeah, then he'll take him.
Okay, so I guess black's preparing g5. It's something. But could there be maybe knight takes g5? I'm seeing there's the two bishops lined up here. Could there be a tactic like bishop takes d1, knight takes f7?
Bishop takes d1, knight takes f7. Yeah.
After knight takes g5, maybe h takes is the way to go. So that way, if bishop does take on d1.
But the bishop is hanging with a check on
that
g4.
Is true. That is true.
Quite.
Not that I don't think there's anything wrong with bishop g3 either, or even bishop to e3.
I think that is what he's calculating.
Yeah, it looks very healthy position still for white, but definitely knight takes g5 seems a very critical move.
I mean, what is okay?
And they found it.
Yeah,
it works.
It's quite a hard move to see, but bishop d1 looks like the only move. But after knight f7, two rooks are hanging, and the rook on h8 is just completely undefended.
I think maybe h takes g5. That's the way to go.
H takes g5, bishop takes check, king moves, and then we could even take another pawn. That's going to be 3 pawns up for white.
Yeah, it's like completely winning. I think that That is the least of all the devils here. Because anyway, like I don't think black can hope for anything better than that. Gray goes for this.
Yeah, knight takes g5 is actually quite a brilliant move. I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't see the evaluation bar skyrocket. Okay. Good move, bishop h5. I would guess we're going to take that rook, but the knight's not going to get out.
But a rook and 3 pawn sides for a knight and a bishop. That's more than compensation.
So white can try g4,
C4.
but I guess the bishop's just going to slip back maybe to e8.
E8, yeah.
Could be a useful move to include anyway. Just start advancing the kingside pawns.
Yeah, the kingside majority, I think that.
Okay. Knight f7 seemed like it's at the very least, giving up a tempo, maybe even more than one tempo. Now also this pawn's hanging. It might have been a very important tempo because need to save this pawn somehow. Castle's short
This
as well.
can turn around now. Like,
It seems like
black
it's turning
has the
around
bishop.
quite quickly.
Yeah, the black has bishop here and
Knight d3.
what about? Yeah, knight d3. Knight d3 and then going c4.
Knight d3, there might be knight d6 check, actually.
Yeah, knight d6 check.
Still knight d3, knight d6 check, I guess. Okay, Fabiano's ready for it. Okay, trade. But in general, trading should help white because now white's the only one with a bishop, sorry, with a rook left on the board. Maybe even trading the bishop you can, or just drop back, keep an eye on this pawn, tie down some pieces. Okay, rook d1 as well.
King c6 and then maybe a5. Just like playing on the dark squares.
Yeah, I think black should try to win the game on the queen side, target these pawns. So, okay, a2 is hanging, but maybe rook d6 could be a concern.
I think more than that, like white can simply go a1, I guess, and then take the
True,
a7 pawn.
Oh, is
What
there
is
some
that?
like coordination issue? C4 and then try to get rook d6 check in? Okay.
I think a5 would have been a better choice there.
Black managed to get all their pieces out.
Yeah, I think he should not have taken bishop there. I think now this will be hard because the king side majority will be very hard to stop.
Yeah, the rook's very strong. There's not really any good targets for these pieces. They kind of just exist to try to hold back these pawns.
Yeah, and you can't really get a passer on the queen side as well.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see king g3 and f4. One big issue is the time, though. Fabian's down to 8 seconds. Ticking down.
I think black needs to get the king to the king side. Takes and maybe king e5. Yeah. Okay.
King's still tied down to his bishop for the moment. We can check away. Oh, it's barely holding on.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting setup for black though, because there's some pressure on this
You
pawn.
can
It's hard
maybe
to
you can give
advance.
up the you can give up the knight for 2 pawns. I think that is the
Not yet.
what? Okay. But now it will be
Now it's looking hard. The pawn's going to get to f6.
yes.
Looks good for white.
Now it's unstoppable. Yeah. I think it should have taken the go king d3 and try to. This is lost.
Yep. Rook check. Yep,
No,
very good move.
yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's hanging because we make a queen.
That should be
It's
game
lost.
over.
It should be game over, yeah. Okay, black's trying to blob all their pieces together in a little bowl, but it's not going to be good enough. Oh,
Oh,
that was a bit of a mistake,
he
not
was,
taking the
yeah,
bishop.
he was low on
There's a
time.
bit of
But
panic.
still,
It's possible to blunder here. But
no,
Takes
yeah.
bishop with
Yeah.
a pin, and it's
but
over.
this is a winning pawn, the knight pawn.
It sure is.
Yeah. If the pawn is one square over on either side, it would be a draw. But if it's a knight pawn, it's going to be a win.
He might repeat. Okay, no, not gonna.
Yeah. White
I
is
think
able
he
to
sees it.
continuously gain tempi and eventually win.
Eventually, that king gets in, and it's over.
Yeah, now he also has 30 seconds.
So another messy game, a game where it looked like one side had a clear advantage, but then it became messy again in a time scramble.
Yeah.
Very well done by Fabian.
Okay, well done to Fabian. Very tough game. So definitely want to go back and highlight this moment in the early middle game.
Yeah, knight takes
Takes
g5.
G5.
That was
Yeah. So
brilliant
g5, pretty sensible move, looking to get bishop g7, maybe knight e7 to g6, and then round up this pawn. And black might be doing okay, but knight takes g5 by Fabian. Brilliant move. If I could annotate it with the brilliant symbol, I would. Discovered attack on the bishop, forcing the capture on d1, but then this intermediate move, knight takes f7. And so in black's defense, they played what looks like a really sensible move, dropping the bishop back. So it's going to be probably two pieces for a rook. And 3 pawns.
After knight f7, I think like knight f7, bishop takes f7, black had the equality for some time.
Yeah. So here, yeah, I can see on the engine it's popped up now the move we were talking about. G4, pawn can't be captured because then the knight's going to escape. So bishop e8 is forced. And now it's just a better version of the game for white. I can see like e6 is a suggested move by the engine, but even if you play something like castles, probably castles looks pretty good because then you're able to get your rook in the center on the next move and keep this pawn protected. Say like capture rook over, and white's got a pretty simple plan of bishop g3 and like f4, f5.
Yeah,
with
those 4 pawns. Yeah.
Yeah, much better coordination in the game. In the game, there was after bishop g7, knight f7 was played, which is just gives up too many tempi. So even though it's the same material count, it's a difference in piece activity because of the tempi lost. So black's probably back in the game completely now. Okay. So not sure who the next player from Adelaide is.
Let's go to the next game, shall we?
Yeah.
So Vishal, have you joined the? I'll be playing next. So
Okay. So I'll be substituting Abhijit as the commentator.
great.
Okay.
So are we getting Abhijit versus Ollie?
Yeah, I'll be playing this game. Just wait a couple of seconds, okay? I need to sort something.
Not a problem.
Okay. We've got Ollie in here already. Okay. Okay, I have our player's username in the chat again. See, RBG has a lot going on right now.
Yeah, actually, we were doing commentary from that room now, so I was there only, so I need to leave the room so I can play. Yeah, just we did not foresee that problem earlier. I'll play in the garden now. Wait, I did not like. Okay, let me go.
वो दूसरा बंदा वो प्रोफेशनल गेमर सेटअप के साथ भी लग रहा है वो चेहरा वो बंदा स्टेट चैंपियन
as well, who's joined us for the commentary. So I'm Kyle Lever. I'm president of the Adelaide Uni Chess Club. And joining me is Nicola Britvich, who is one of our team captains.
Okay, I'm just secretary at the IIT Kanpur Chess Club. So yeah, I've been into chess for the past 3 years, I guess now. Also playing for the institute team now. So it's been quite a journey.
Okay, we're expecting the game to start shortly.
This game might turn out to be very important for the standings, I guess, because we desperately need a win now.
Yeah, IITK really needs to get on the scoreboard at this point.
Yeah, I've sent the challenge. Can you see that, Ollie?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right. So
I'll
game
leave the audio.
started. Yeah,
I'll leave
players
the
are
audio
gonna disconnect from the audio, and then we'll be on our way.
Why that?
So it'll be next to the microphone button. There should be an option to leave computer audio. Okay, looks like we're all good. And we're off. So we had a French defense invitation. White could have opted to transpose to a French defense. But now we're heading straight into a Dutch. Okay, and how was this handled from the white side? So bishop came out to b4. Are we going to see the queen trying to cover that? No, instead we see a counter pin on this knight.
I've been playing this e4 gambit line against the Dutch. I guess that scores pretty well.
Is it called the Staunton Gambit?
Yeah, Staunton gambit.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we've actually reached a position which looks more reminiscent of a Nimzo Indian defense with these doubled pawns here for white. And I actually like black's position quite a lot because they've already got in this f5 move, controlling the e4 square here. So if black just gets a couple moves to play b6, bishop b7, and then d6, knight d7, black would pretty much have a strategically won game. So I think the pressure's definitely on white to make something happen in the meantime.
Right. Okay, going for the b file right away.
So I would still expect to see probably this b6 move. But it's definitely not all play on one side because white might at some point have a c5 pawn break, even if it's a pawn sacrifice, just to try to access some of black's weaknesses.
It's a very thematic move I've noticed in the Dutch as well, to line the queen up on the long light square diagonal where the king is on g8.
Yeah, so we'd probably expect at some point the king to step over. I definitely like this a5 move as well, because if the white pawn had reached a5, it would have cramped the black queen side quite a lot. So I think a5 is definitely a good move. But it does weaken the b6 square a little bit. So later after b6 is played, this c5 pawn break might become even more impactful.
Like, finding ideas for white is a bit difficult in this situation now. Like black has a pretty straightforward plan. Move the king, start pushing the pawns.
Yeah, black has a lot of kind of easy to play ideas. You can still go for this bishop development, but the last move from white is actually quite tricky because they're aiming to bring their own bishop to the long diagonal. But I think the problem is that you would never actually be threatening to capture here, because then you would just be walking into a pin. So maybe it's kind of a bit of a superficial move by white. Okay, but b6 kind of actually justifies it.
Yeah. Now white has the long diagonal. Something to look forward to, at least.
Yeah. So I'm still expecting both sides to make some improvements to their king safety. It's kind of been on the agenda for quite a while now. Bishop c6. Okay, I don't think it's such a large threat to capture on d7, so maybe even still king h8.
Yeah. Like at some point, white needs to decide, right, how to deal with that incoming attack.
Yeah. Maybe white's actually scared of going for this short castle. Maybe that's why they've delayed it for so long. Maybe they're not planning on castling short at all. Maybe they want to castle queenside.
Yeah, maybe clamp down the queen side and then castle queen side. Yeah, that
Yeah.
might be a plan.
Okay, castle queenside no longer legal.
Yeah.
And the e5 pawn break. So we've been waiting a long time to see this. I still have to like black's position. Just these still these double pawns. It's such a long-term weakness. I think actually capturing the knight should never really be a big threat because then in an endgame, this a4 pawn is just going to be too much to deal with. So I don't think taking on d7 is really going to be ever viable.
Now f3, f4.
The position warrants a c5 sacrifice at some point to place the knight on c4.
Yeah, definitely at some point, c5 kind of needed to be played. I'm wondering, is black willing to commit to this e4 push? Maybe that's too much of a commitment.
E4, knight goes back, and if f4, then short castle, perhaps not so bad. And also,
Yeah.
it loosens the e4 pawn.
Yeah, knight drops back, and then a lot of pressure on this pawn. And white would also be ready to short castle and then do an f3 pawn break as well. So
Black should be aiming for the f5 break straight away. King is in the center, and f5 or even g5 here it doesn't look bad at all.
I certainly agree. I think g5 looks like quite an interesting active plan. f4, okay. f4 is quite a big commitment. I would be quite inclined to capture f4, and I'm wondering what the black plan is after that. Because you certainly don't want to play e takes f4.
No, take on d4. d4.
Take on d4. Okay.
Open the e5.
Okay, castle's short. So it's becoming extremely double-edged. For example, we could take on d7, bishop d7, take on e5, and then I was about to say, I don't think it works because there's an intermediate move of bishop h3, which looks extremely painful. I would guess you have to play knight h4, but then the queen's just going to attack the knight. It's looking like it's really falling apart for white.
Yeah, he has to give up the exchange.
The time is low here.
Yeah, so pawn goes to g3, but it might even be possible to play, I was going to say play it slow somehow, like pawn going to f3, keeping the attack going, because moving the rook away also looks extremely dangerous. Okay, it looks like a pretty reasonable move, offering the queen trade. And the queen trade was accepted, so trading
That's
down into an
interesting.
endgame. Yeah, looks like a pretty reasonable decision. But actually, there was a check on g6 on the cards as well. I don't know if that was missed at some point.
It still
Definitely
is,
missed
and
right
it's
now.
found. Yeah.
Okay. Now this should be holdable. Should be a draw.
It should be a draw, but it's hard to say. Both sides have a lot of weaknesses all over the board. It looks like white has the much more active rook at this point. Okay, I would say maybe even the king continuing to go up the board was possible because c7 is hanging.
Right.
Are we going to see king g4 being brave?
Yep. Now
wow, a draw by repetition.
Draw.
A very unexpected end. Okay, I just saw Ollie gave a double thumbs down. Very unhappy with the game.
I was not going for draw there. I was,
Yeah, I think definitely white was pressing for the advantage.
No,
I was expecting actually the king to step forward and allow a capture on f2.
okay.
Because
Oh yeah, that one was
this
No, actually, I thought
yeah.
I thought about going from the from E's file to. I was very low on time, so I couldn't anyway come up with any concrete plan. But I should have given the F2. I thought it was twofold repetition, not three. But
Yeah, I feel like I always make that mistake as well, and I forget the first time that the position occurred. I was like, oh, we repeated twice, but actually, the first time we reached the position was the first repetition.
Yeah, I think this was a photographic draw. Maybe like we reached the same position thrice.
Yeah. So let's step back through the game a bit. I think it's fair to say that Black had quite a successful opening. Here Black has a very flexible pawn structure, long-term attacking ideas, no clear weaknesses.
I'm very bad at openings. Like in Bullet, I only play Bonk Cloud exclusively.
Okay.
That's like
well, you should have tried it this game. That's where your experience is.
I'm not even making this up. Like you can go to my ID and like look my last 50 games. They have been mostly like 40 of them would have been Bonk Cloud.
Yeah.
It would have been quite something if we saw the Bonk Cloud in this, I must say.
Should have played, but we were 2 down, so I couldn't take the risk.
Yeah, so I was saying quite through a lot of different positions that I think taking the knight seemed like a big strategic mistake. But eventually it happened. But just this bishop left on the board, so extremely powerful. Look at all of the black pawns on dark squares, and they'll just coordinate so perfectly with this bishop. Queen already here for the attack. I think bishop takes d7 was probably should be a losing move, I would say.
Yeah.
I
got greedy there. I thought I would get a pawn, but I did not see bishop h3.
Yeah, after bishop h3, it's such a devastating attack.
Yeah, I mean, that is like I knew that I was very worse there.
Yeah, black has 4 attacking units around the king, and just the white knight trying to hold them all off.
He missed the fork in the end. That's where I got the
advantage back. Came back.
I was hoping for the fork, like him miss it, placements at any mistake. Then
yeah, I would guess just capturing here, maybe the simplest, and then
be in exchange.
And then e3 is hanging.
Take care, and yeah, that's like absolutely devastating.
Yeah, so in the end, it was a trade into an endgame, and the exchange was won. I'm just wondering what the situation is if we try to check here first. I'm guessing there's going to be an issue with maybe the knight getting a bit stuck. I was trying to see like, but that's that check.
Comes to the check.
So yeah, maybe moving the bishop, trying to get some tempi. It looks like it should be a favorable situation for black. And then I'm not sure. We could try bishop f5, would leave the knight quite trapped. You
Yeah.
could also try bishop e2, and then after the rook moves, you stick the pawn in on f3. Looks really dangerous as well. So I think black would have had a pretty big advantage here. In the end, an unfortunate repetition. We can see here on the score sheet the 3 times that the position occurred. So rook e7 was the first one, and it's easy to miss. But yeah, unfortunately, in the low time, white wasn't brave enough to step forward and let go of the f2 pawn. Okay.
That was the way to go, yes. At least we are on the scorecard now. Let's hope.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's on the board now.
Who is playing next? They just
So it looks like we've got Xavier coming in next, and I'll put his username in the chat again, just so everyone can see.
do we have the players?
I believe Xavier should be our player. Looks like he's ready. I'm not sure who's supposed to be sending him the
He's not in the meet,
challenge.
right?
Xavier is in the meeting, yeah. Oh, it says it's playing right now. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. We've already had this position in the tournament. I'm guessing the players would have disconnected from the audio already.
Was it the similar position or exactly the same one?
It's the same position. So in the game with Fabian played bishop to e2 in this position.
Now we've got knight a3.
Yeah, and after bishop e2, there was the crazy move e7 to e5. But now instead we've got knight a3, which is quite a thematic move for this type of position, but maybe I'm not sure if it's completely appropriate here. So the knight on a3 supports the bishop coming out to c4 with a tempo. Could also sometimes try jumping forward and going for a fork on c7, if I could get those arrows in.
So we got an exchange on f3, and the G file has now been opened.
The G file is open, pawn structure's damaged, but bishop pair for white, some open lines. It's quite an unclear position.
Like after takes, isn't white down a pawn simply?
Yeah, I'm wondering, I'm guessing white's going to play a move that isn't c takes d4. I don't know if it's bishop c4 or knight b5.
Going for the royal fork, perhaps.
So there's a big fork threatened, and I'm kind of guessing that there's going to be a check. I'm not sure on what square. Okay.
There was a check.
Yeah, there was a
Can black
check.
go? Can black go queenside castle and simply like start attacking the white king in the center? Is
Yeah,
that
it looks very appropriate. After, say, bishop e2, queenside castles, the pawn on d4 is now protected by the rook. Looks like should be pretty good for black. We'll have to see what Xavier has in mind.
This came from an Alpine.
Yeah, it was an Alpine defense, which actually is a bit unusual because Xavier is not usually an e4 player from what I know.
He switched up his repertoire recently, actually.
Yeah, he must it up. I know he's played the Trompovsky opening a lot, but wow, that is a big move. Capturing on c3. Things are really kind of getting wild now. I'm looking like I'm trying to see like is f4 even a possibility? Something trying to distract the queen away from c7. b2 pawns hanging. It's getting really
messy
wild.
situation? Yeah, f4 is the
Okay.
move.
Xavier couldn't resist f4. So
Castles was better. B2 was never hanging.
Yeah, castles was much better.
okay, castles was better, we're hearing. Queen went all the way back, and now I'm guessing we'll just see a simple recapture on c3. I'm not sure with what. Maybe with the pawn.
Black needs to develop his pieces very quickly here because otherwise he'll like get attacked very soon.
Yeah, white's down quite a bit of material, but a lot of development. That being said, black has a very solid position. Like the black moves are going to be super easy, like e6, bishop e7, knight f6. You don't have to be a genius to play black's moves. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult to play the position for white.
I think white needs to come up with a concrete plan pretty soon. Because as soon as the position stabilizes, black will have an extra plan.
Yeah, I agree. So
Look at white's pawn structure. I mean,
it's about the worst pawn structure you could possibly have with 5 pawns.
yes.
So e6 was a very good move because bishop a3 might have been an idea to try to stop castling. But getting in e6 first prevented that.
White has a lot of dynamic piece play. The bishop pair is there. It's an open book. So white should have easy compensation.
There's definitely some
I think that is the
compensation.
only reason like engine is giving yes.
Right now, rook b1. Start with all the open lines. Utilize all of them.
Yeah, so rook b1. Okay, bishop e3 as well, trying to trade off that piece.
Bishop e3, it will be like this.
Yeah, I think we'll expect to see something like rook b1 and then combined with knight d4, trying to like really open up this bishop.
Actually, even bishop takes c6 could have been a threat in some nights there.
Yeah, bishop takes c6. It's an idea, but like if we look at this knight, it's really not such a good piece, and the bishop is just so.
It's a lot stronger with a rook on b1, I think.
Yeah, I'm still expecting to see this knight d4 move at some point.
Knight
Maybe
d6
still.
becomes a possibility now because rook d1, knight d6.
Okay.
It looks like white's trying to set
knight
that up,
d6
and
was
here
just
we
allowed.
go.
It was invited, in fact. You don't have to ask twice. Queen's attacked, b7's attacked. Rook takes b7 is possible. Knight takes b7 as well. Ooh, there's going to be some.
Has to be queen takes.
Yeah, I think.
Knight c5 here. Takes.
Still looks pretty interesting for white. White's got the passed c pawn, but the king's a lot weaker. this position with the queen still on the board, this king's going to be a big problem. Okay, queen's not on the board anymore. And
What?
there goes
He
the
just
knight.
hung up.
Right as well,
Oh
don't
my.
Wow.
Trying to watch Xavier's expression now.
Oh.
Still very focused.
That's what time pressure does to you.
Yeah, I don't think Xavier's going to have a lot of trouble here, especially with the pass A pawn so close to queening.
A7 works. Yeah.
Yeah, Xavier seemed very on the ball when it came to tactics this game. The position was very shaky. But I'm guessing is going to be okay with a 2-second increment to convert this. But you never know, there's always room for stalemates.
Did you watch yesterday's Tata stream?
I think I did check all the games.
Yeah, did you check Ding versus Max Formidable?
Yes.
Yeah,
There
there
was,
were like many stalemate techniques. Like, yeah, Max squeezed out a draw. Like he could have, but he blundered
Yes.
again in the
Yeah,
end.
that was the rook ending.
Yeah, that
when
was an
Max blundered.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't see all of the analysis, but definitely looked like it should
in
be
a
a
classical.
drawable position. Okay, maybe we'll just recap this game a bit. So it's actually quite an insane game. After this opening, White decided to go all out for piece activity and allowed their pawn structure to just be completely destroyed and from every angle. Yeah, I'm guessing that if you take b2, it would just be the capture here, and then even if you get a new queen, there's going to be
That's
a
checkmate, right?
problem here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not a good idea, which is why the queen had to retreat to b8, was the only square still covering c7. And then after castles, again, not recapturing, inviting black to capture and develop this bishop for white. We saw it become more kind of like there's kind of the outlines of a more standard type of position with this bishop applying pressure on the long diagonal. And white was able to kind of get enough play going. Black was defending well. It was kind of maybe dynamically balanced. It's hard to say. All the way up until this blunder. So after rook d1, there was a big threat on the board of knight d6, and it had to be addressed somehow. I'm sure there's many different ways to deal with it. But a6 just instead invited it. And then things kind of got out of control.
What was the move there?
So I think rook takes b7 would have been
Rook
much
takes
stronger.
b7 and then you threaten f7 as well.
Because there's no more defense of the knight possible. So there's going to have to be a lot of material dropped from black here. The computer's
Very
calling
least,
for queen
black
takes.
loses a piece.
Yeah, it's going to be really bad. But instead, knight takes b7. Huge blunder. After the rook trade, the damage was limited to just one pawn. And black's definitely back in the game. But only a couple moves later, we saw a very horrific blunder. And very unfortunate. I think I've noticed it seems to be a common theme. Maybe the Australian players are handling their time scrambles a little bit better. Definitely the middle games have been quite wild and back and forth, but it seems like in the time scrambles is where Adelaide has been pulling ahead.
No, can you go back to the where white was threatening knight d6? There,
Yes.
what was the move for black? Was it
But
b6 or
Queen
no?
b8 was a move I
After
saw.
queen b8. No,
Yeah,
but
I
what
can see like
happens?
I
What
can see like
happens
knight
after bishop
a5.
takes? No, here the knight d6 is threatened, right? So
Sorry,
what's the move?
Yeah,
rook
that's what I was
b8, I
saying.
think, not queen b8.
Like knight a5 is an idea. You defend the pawn, get out
Oh,
of any trouble here. Make also lots of room for your queen along the c file. Pretty
no,
healthy move.
is b6 a move there? Maybe can you try that?
b6 looks super scary.
No, after rook takes, then b6.
You want to do rook takes and then b6.
Maybe I just want to look what the engine says.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably possible. You
Yeah,
keep
it's like
everything
it's
protected.
not that bad. Yeah, I think that could have been another candidate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's many different ways Black could have addressed the threat. But a6 was the worst one for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So who do we have?
Let's go to another game.
Yeah, I can see Samuel has joined the call. Must be the next player.
Pranshu is playing from our side, so has we'll just see. Yeah, Pranshu is joined to meet.
Okay, we've got Sam's username in the chat. Okay, I've heard that Sam might be having trouble connecting to Zoom, so I'm not sure if that will be possible.
Yeah, if he has problems connecting, then it's all right. We can do it without you.
Okay.
So Pranshu, can you please challenge Sam?
Yeah, what color am I playing?
Yeah. So you'll be playing white.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I might have put the wrong Sam's username in there.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, we do have two Sams playing for us. So yeah, I did put the wrong one in. My mistake. Here's the correct one. Yeah, so it looks like Sam managed to join the Zoom.
Yeah.
It's the 3+2, right?
Yeah, and you'll be playing white.
Okay. I've sent him the challenge.
Okay, so players should be able to disconnect from the Zoom audio now. Just waiting for Sam to accept the challenge.
Pranshu, maybe you can resend the challenge. Alright,
Here
the
we
game
go.
is begun.
Looks like he's playing.
Ah, yep. Here we go. So the game started. Okay, so we've got an Indian game starting out here and transposed into the Queen's Gambit Decline. So one of the most popular positions in all of chess. And we've got the Rogozin opening.
Queen A4 variation. That's not played very often.
Yeah, so very strategically sound idea here from White. I believe it actually might have been featured in a recent Tata Steel game as well. So the knight blocking Black's own c-pawn, hindering their development. And I'm actually starting to really like White's position here because White has the bishop pair, and Black doesn't have too much to show for it. His double pawns are not a big issue. They can easily be liquidated off at any point in the game.
But if I really like looks right at that, now maybe White will go 92 at some point to trade that knight off.
Yeah, I think we're definitely expecting castles and then a knight move at some point, a c4 move at some point. It's looking very healthy for White. Two very strong bishops, and the knight on e4 is strong right now, but it's quite a temporary position on e4. It's not going to last there forever. And meanwhile, if we're looking at the rest of the Black pieces, the knight on
Maybe
c6 and bishop on c8 are not very impressive.
with Black, maybe go knight to e7 and then c5. That's the
Knight to e7 looks like quite a reasonable idea. Yeah. The knight needs to be improved clearly. Other option is, does Black want to try getting the knight out to a5 instead? Aim for the c4 square. It's another way you could go.
Yeah, that can be done, but I think White can simply take there.
Yeah.
I was thinking like Black should maybe try to get some play on the c file from after going 97, knight 97 and be moving the bishop, getting the rook to the c file.
Yeah, I think
Knight a5 is the better strategic move, as well as like knight a5, b5, knight c5, knight c4.
Yeah, I think a problem is no matter what plan Black is going for, it's going to be extremely hard to solve the problem of this light squared bishop. I think it's basically always going to be a bad piece.
c4 is very
committed with c4.
C4 is very scary.
Removing. I think Black's whole play depends on like stopping c4 here, right? In some lines.
But c4 has been played, so now knight a5 is out of question because knight e5 will also be there. So it's a complete
advantageous for White, I think.
Bishop has come to support the pawn there. Like, I don't think the position is very optimal for Black here.
Yeah, but it might not be too bad. Like c takes, bishop takes looks quite healthy for Black, not too bad. I'm guessing White should probably keep the tension. Maybe rook b1. Just maybe start trying to use the b file. Yeah, it looks like a pretty good move. Still a very tense position. I'm wondering. I was about to say, could we see some sort of strategic concept like the bishop going to b5 actually?
To exchange the knight and get control of e5?
Yeah. For the moment, a2 is kind of hanging. Rook b2 is quite an awkward move. Rook c1.
Gives it.
I think Black is on.
Yeah, it looks like that should have solved a lot of Black's problems.
I mean, Black has like cleared 2 passers on the queen side.
Yeah, Black definitely has a pawn majority here. They're not moving very fast. still the bishop on a3 is quite a strong piece. So white's in the game still for sure.
White can trade off the light square bishop, I think. Maybe.
Yeah,
Right
white
now.
can trade the bishop at any moment, but not clear that you want to. Might want to keep it on the board. Okay, it does go for it. I was thinking still the idea of going bishop b5 and trying to get knight e5 was pretty interesting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Still the position's
Now,
very
what's the
tense.
plan
Like
for
black,
black?
yeah, black has these extra pawns, but they can't really move anywhere. Knight can't move without hanging the c pawn. Rook can't move. B pawn can't move. Knight can't move anyway because of knight e5 would probably be a pretty big problem. And I can see some plans for white as well. Like I'm looking at bringing the knight over to d3 and then playing pawn to f3. King can come up to f2. White has really good central control. Okay, I think we don't want to capture that knight, I want to say. I'm wondering maybe rook c. Oh,
Oh, he's hung the rook there. That's the second hanging piece of the whole match.
What
Now
are we
he'll
doing,
get the
man?
bishop as well. That is
That
really
is
unfortunate.
that's really unfortunate because it wasn't just the hanging rook, it was everything was attacked after, so you couldn't even get away with just losing the exchange.
You're a whole rook down. I mean, I thought this was the game we are gonna, and now.
Yeah, it looks like white was doing kind of a lot of massaging on the position, really good, like positional play.
Actually, we had one another like this similar kind of tournament with one another Australian university. What was that?
I believe it was the University of New South Wales.
Yeah. So there it was a 5-5 tie. So people were saying don't make a 5-5 tie this time. So we decided, okay, we'll give it 9-1. I mean, this has been horrible.
So what is the score at the moment?
I think it's half. Like we have half a point.
To 3.5, I believe.
After 3.5, and this game's not looking so good.
2 games where we were what?
There's a potential trap on the board. You could take
Yeah.
the knight and don't take the free rook.
Oh, okay. It's a
What do you can
wait, rook c8, rook c8. White's back in the game.
Now, rook e8 has to be played.
I mean,
my
no,
lord.
not rook e8, because then you can just take it.
Oh, wow, you're right.
You have to, I think you have to move the king.
That's the big king moves, yeah.
You have to move the king and then put the rook behind.
Yeah, he's found it. He's found it.
And there's like queenside majority, I think.
Yeah, this is completely out of control. I mean, white has some play, but these pawns are so fast. I think in a time scramble, it looks way easier to play black.
Yes. I think white needs to start pushing the h4, h5.
Yeah,
Rook
because
f7, I don't like that move. Doesn't
which
do
white
anything.
makes it is not it does not take an initiative, black will start pushing.
And now it's, I think, one. Like white simply handed over 2 tempos.
Yeah, black's plan is so easy. Just escort the b pawn with the king.
Okay, I think games will get more exciting on.
Black might as well put their rook on d6 even to prevent the king coming. Not that it's really an issue.
Yeah, I don't think the king's going to be able to get very far.
Yeah, I think instead of moving the rook, he should have either moved the king there or maybe gone with the rook to a5, stopping b5 there.
Yeah,
Now,
cutting the king, very professional move. The rook does such a good job cutting the king, protecting this, so there's just no way for the rook to help out. And very traumatic game with a big turnaround.
that was insane.
So if we just do a quick
He
recap.
must have gone like up and down and then up and down.
Yeah, so it was quite a drawn-out strategic battle with even white blundering or sacrificing a pawn, but still having very decent compensation of the bishop pair. And if we fast forward a few moves, knight d6 was played with a threat on the rook, and instead a counterattack was made, but that's just not working at all. Way too much material, complete blunder. And if we fast forward, the play continued with
Had the
a
rook
full
been
rook up
on
for black.
in that position where white blundered, had the rook been on a8, that might have made some sense, but
Yeah.
that was
So,
maybe he overlooked that. Yeah, this. Okay.
Very tricky situation here with an advanced pawn. And it might look like it's super easy, but rook takes e6 is a very impractical move. I understand it's still winning, but it's a very impractical move because it opens up so many opportunities to blunder once this pawn reaches d7. So the first trap to avoid is do not capture the free rook, because that's going to be a queen, and
apparently it's equal still.
White's completely back in the game. Black is very fortunate that one of their rooks isn't going to drop off with a check because everything's loose. But instead, rook d8 was another blunder because it's just unfortunately not on the right square, because it's on an unprotected square and there's no way to protect it after this rook c8 move. So better would have been rook to f8. And so after the same rook to c8, black would have this resource rook d6, covering the promotion square and saving things just in time. But after rook d8, very careless move, rook c8, white has miraculously salvaged their rook down position, and black fortunately was still okay in this rook ending, although white managed to later soon kind of fall apart. It was a very hard position to play anyway, because there's no easy way to make a pass pawn for white.
Yeah.
So it's understandable to fall apart here in the time scramble, but very admirable to fight back from this insane blunder.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Okay, I can see we've got Michael in the Zoom room now, and he's bobbing his head around quite a lot.
He's excited.
So I'll quickly grab his.
Now we have Michael versus Harshit. Come on, you have to get the win for us. We're still on like half a point.
Now, I'm curious to see if Michael gets white here. If indeed we go into any Sicilian lines, we might just see the elephant for a third time tonight.
We might have the third elephant, yeah.
I'm black, right?
Sorry, can't hear audio. Might be a good thing.
Yeah, I think you're black, right?
The Pranshit is right in this one, so
Harshit is black, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we should see the challenge come through shortly, and then both players can disconnect from the audio. Michael's all pumped up, must be listening to some anime music. Okay, looks like the game's starting. So, okay, so we've got a Italian on the board here with knight f6. So a bit of a delay here. So we could potentially see a fried liver, which is also recently featured in Tata Steel, or we could see a more quiet Joko Piano with D3.
Right. I think Prague played against Joe Angel, right?
Yes,
Prague.
did
Has Michael left the computer audio?
Yeah, Prague won with the black pieces.
No, I think
we get D4.
Oh.
Okay, so it was transposed to a
E5.
Scotch gambit, a line I'm very familiar with. With
All
Bishop
main line thus
B5.
far.
Bishop B5 is not actually what I'm familiar with.
I believe Bishop B5 is the main line, actually.
Yeah, I'd be more familiar with
Black is holding reasonably well there, so
tricky lines.
The Aaron Lee lines.
Yeah. But this is quite a standard position. So we can see black has the strongest center, but white has this advanced pawn. Now I'm a little bit concerned about the black position actually, because there's kind of some looseness and the king's still in the center. I'm looking at D5 pawn, E4 knight.
it will take at least 2 moves to castle, so maybe white could play like he's gone for bishop c6.
Yeah. I'm wondering, can white try to blow things open with c4, or is that too much? Okay, we see knight d2, much more calm, collected move. But c4 might still be on the cards. Because c4 would also try to exploit these double pawns.
C4, I think black can go D4 there.
Yeah. So maybe white doesn't want to encourage black to open up this this bishop, which could become quite powerful. Instead, we see c3, so trying to just kind of blockade this pawn and keep this bishop locked in. So I would expect, okay, d4, quite an ambitious move. We do see the capture, and I wonder, are we going to see maybe the bishop moving, trying to just open up an attack on this pawn right away? Or maybe rook c1 just claiming this semi-open file? Okay, so the direct attack on the pawn.
Seems quite hard to defend that pawn.
This is looking very loose for black. I don't know about this a3 move, but this c file is looking so juicy.
Yeah. You need to go bishop
b7 to like facilitate b4.
Yeah. Okay, rook c1 finally. This is looking super dangerous. Queen d5. It felt like it had to be played, but the engine is screaming. What is the move? Is it just queen c2? Could it be that simple? Taking s6, I don't like, because that opens the black rook.
Yeah.
Position's kind of completely insane.
Why is engine giving such a big head? Oh.
Whoa, look at this move. Rook e5, what a find. After capturing on c5, the bishop on c6 is going to be hanging, so white's just winning a piece. The bishop on f4 is not relevant. Wow, that's very tactically alert from Michael. That was not the most obvious move for sure. Yeah, it's just impossible to find a move. I mean, rook e8 is also winning the queen if you don't want to win
he
a
has
piece.
a discount check here.
Yeah, but then you yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I didn't it wasn't my favorite move. I would have gone for the clean piece.
You would have got.
Now you can take with the pawn, keep everything covered.
What?
No, but it's a blunder.
The bishop.
It could have been 8 points of material for 9, but we're not going into that.
Yeah, it's still kind of unclear. We've seen already in this match how dangerous a pass pawn can be. Even when you're down a whole rook, it can cause a lot of trouble.
Actually, you're right. Like bishop takes knight, and then D2 and we live.
Yep, here we go.
It's very tricky here. White needs to find the correct moves.
It's so hard.
This is so similar to the last game.
I feel like we might be losing the rook. I can see that like queen b3 check and rook d5. No, but then you can. Oh, it's very complicated. There's back rank tactics for both sides. Michael's spending all his time.
Like he is under 10 seconds now. Oh no.
Well,
I think we
try
might
to
just win
calculate the
this.
complete variation here.
King f1
Okay,
is
now
not going
you-
to cut it. Okay,
Oh, nice.
White's might still be holding some advantage in the rook ending. That's his plan. So he's sacrificing his queen to rook e1 check, but it would still be quite a nice rook endgame for White. This remaining rook would be very active.
And rook e1 check, then maybe go rook b6, then a6. It's a fight.
Also, it's going to be very tough for White here because he has only 5 seconds left, so he'll need to play very quickly.
Yeah, only 5 seconds, but the moves should get a lot easier from this point.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, I think going after these pawns.
Oh, go after
Not the
the
way to go.
b2. B2. Yeah.
It's hard to say because it looks like it's not the way to go, but it did create this passed h pawn, which is going to give a source of counterplay. And actually, black rook
think
is
you also-
so active now.
Yes, cutting off the king. And okay.
We're going to have to see White try to get active at some point, start running the a pawn. This is
Black
definitely
should
anyone's
basically
game
draw.
now.
I think we should try to flag White here.
Okay,
Somehow get
let's
the-
keep pushing the pawn. Yep. Yeah. White is
How do
in
you-
such big trouble. Okay, this is a good setup. This is a good setup. White can keep everything protected now. And we can try to get...
Black
Okay,
needs
he's trying to
why
advance
did
the
he
move further.
Black needs to enter the position.
We're going to see rook b6, keep everything protected. No, going for what? This looks really crazy.
Black has voluntarily like put their king in the trap. What are you doing?
Now Black can bring the king around because the h4 pawn can't be captured.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a draw, right? If you just keep waiting with your king.
I think what?
It seems like both sides are kind of stuck.
Looks like we might see a repetition here.
Go inside. I think yeah.
Yes, Black needs to get his king into the position. Like he could even go to the a file if he wants to.
Ooh,
Now it's
I don't know about this check. Oh, rook h1.
That's game over.
That's
Yeah,
checkmate.
yeah, that's checkmate.
Brutal. Wow.
Okay.
finally.
Yeah.
I
Let's
think
go,
King
Harshit,
G2
let's
was the
go.
move.
Yeah.
If we could take a look at the position where, right here, was the move Queen B3 or
So
King
that's
G2?
what I was looking at. Yeah. I was looking at maybe like just moving the king. I can see it's
Because
like
here-
saying King H2 is stronger, but I was thinking like
if I
when the
play
rook
rook
comes
E1,
in,
we have Queen B3 ideas of
Yeah,
check
we've
and
got
threatening
this-
back rank Queen
we've got
B8.
this check, and actually I think White will probably give checkmate before this pawn's able to queen.
That's
So
yeah.
I mean, you can see like the engine suggestions playing moves like h6. It's such a complex position. But I think it's actually going to still end up going into a rook endgame, similar to what we saw.
I think our
After
best
tax
winning
tax.
strategy. I think our best winning strategy is to blunder a piece because we are
Yeah,
getting winning positions after that.
Yeah, seems that way. So yeah, I know. I mean, we called it as well. Like it looks like it's just so completely winning. But this D pawn's really dangerous. So I did want to highlight this moment here. I think it's quite an instructive moment. So we had this position where Michael played the fantastic rook to e5. Brilliant move. It's not easy to do when you've just seen that your bishops come under attack, but instead he went for the counter attack. And after queen d6, it looks so tempting to go rook e8 check and win the queen. You're winning a queen, right? But you're only winning a queen for a rook and bishop. So actually you're kind of helping black a lot. If instead you capture,
Simply a piece up, yeah.
there's going to be a trade. One of the pieces has to capture on f4. Say the queen captures. Now it's going to be a much cleaner piece up compared to the game where this d pawn just no longer has any support. There's no chances of it moving down the board. And it's a much cleaner way to play. Okay. I can see Finn is in and ready. So
I think she can drop her chess.com ID there in the chat box.
Yeah, I'll put it in quickly as well. So I've got Finn's username here. So can we get an update on the score? It's going to be 1.5 for IITK.
4.5, I believe.
Yeah.
1.5 to 4.5.
Can we get a winning streak here?
Yeah, that looks correct. So
I've
with 4 games left, anything is still possible.
I've told my team members to quickly blunder a piece so that
yeah. Opening with blundering a piece has a high success rate.
yeah. Okay, I think we can begin as the Abhishek.
Yeah,
You can challenge her.
Yeah,
Okay,
I will
cool.
say.
Sorry, I had to be out for a while. So where are we right now?
The game is about to start.
Yeah, I will send him.
All right.
Yep. Okay, looks like
Okay,
the game has started. So if the players could disconnect from the audio now. Looks like that's fine. I'm not seeing any response from the players. Okay, so
Another
we've got
D4 game, another Queen Gambit.
yeah, so we've got another Queen's Gambit going. Much more traditional one compared to the earlier Rogozin. But I do like the white position. White was able to get the bishop outside the pawn chain. All the pieces developed nicely, but still quite a classical position. I think we'll expect to see something like knight f8 in the near future, or maybe even the knight jumping to e4 from black. Rook c1, I'm not quite sure actually what the purpose of this move is. Usually it would be more common to see the rook come to b1, preparing to push this b pawn up the board. Rook c1 kind of looks like for the moment it's staring at just a solid pawn, so a bit of a mysterious move. But here we see actually a very typical plan from white. So white might be trying to get this attacking setup with the pawn coming to f4, which actually the
That
knight
needs to break at c5 at some point.
Yeah, so the knight on an e5 is actually even more powerful when h6 is played, because it makes it much harder later in the game to kick the knight out with pawn to f6, because you would have already weakened your light squares. So I wouldn't be surprised to see f2, f4 in this position.
Yeah.
Okay, bishop to g3 is also quite reasonable, and also it's not ruling out f4, so it's still on the cards for later. But maybe not the most precise, because this pin was very nice as well. I think everybody's seen attacking plans like f2 to f4, queen coming to f3, swinging over on the king side. Looks really dangerous. So one plan for black here is you can quite hard to execute. I was going to say you could try putting the pawn on g6, but never mind that. There's actually a tactic on the board right now of knight
Yeah.
to
Knight
b5.
b5.
And it's quite unfortunate that it's going to end really badly. You might think it's just a trade of knight for bishop, but at the end of the line, there's going to be a discovered
Discovery.
attack. The knight could either capture c6 or capture
Yeah.
f7 with a discovered attack on the queen. So
Really fine to know. That's the question.
yeah, and
Oh no,
not
it doesn't.
It's
found.
missed.
It's a
There's
big
one for
miss,
f4.
but
I-
this is
I think-
what we were asking for anyway. So still quite a good position for white.
I think Finn saw that. There was a sigh of relief.
Yeah. So what
think
is the
now-
response from Finn? Maybe just getting the queen out of danger, or potentially playing a6 and shoring up the b5 square.
B5.
Definitely the threat is still on the board, I would say. I mean, there's no discovered attacks anymore, but you don't want to be trading off this bishop. So, okay,
Okay,
queen
she
b8
goes-
resolves that threat.
Maintains the battery. So, but the queen is in a very passive position on this round. Like it only has one act.
Yeah, queen's in a very passive position, blocking in the rook. a5, I like this move a lot, giving some more scope for the rook and stopping the b4 expansion. I'm wondering if it's time for white maybe to try start setting up some threats, maybe setting up a battery. Okay.
And what do you
Here
know?
we go.
Yeah. I don't know how many games I've won in Bullet with this
Yeah.
with this tactic.
Classic bullet trick.
But there
Yeah.
are two knights covering the h7.
Yeah, h7 is
that's
quite
true.
well protected. I would still expect at some point to see this bishop come back to attack the knight. We could also see maybe some pawn storm ideas. Everything is going to be based around this extremely strong knight on e5. So white's got a lot of different plans. They can play on both wings because they're so strong in the center.
Is also quite like more than 1 minute 20 seconds down on
Ooh.
time. This is
This-
very bad.
This
Like,
is looking
simply-
quite bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Take the
Finn's
knight.
opting to
the
sacrifice the
pawn
Now
pawn
the
here.
bishop. He should have gone bishop a2. That was lovely.
Yeah,
Attacking
still
the
looking really nice. I mean, what are these
Yeah.
pieces doing over here? It looks like they're just going to watch the Black King get massacred. There's not much protecting the Black King at the moment.
It's not that. Queen f3 sounds reasonable, I think.
Yeah, f7 is so tender, and we're still waiting to see this battery come up.
Oh my
I think there's
like this. I
there's
think he
this
has
E6
decided
move.
to. Yeah, he has decided to win through the battery only. He's. I mean,
Yeah, e6 move
Yeah,
was
I thought
missed
you
a couple
play queen
times.
f3.
Queen f3 was the move. I think there's like. Okay, doubling the.
Okay,
I mean,
this
White's
is
position
really
is so
asking.
good.
Oh, but he could have played.
Yeah, e6 is there. e4, d5 is still there as well.
E4, d5 is very tempting.
Okay,
Oh, he
e6
plays
finally
it.
played.
What?
And
Now, take the pawn. Right.
And,
still no
go with
clear
the bishop.
knockout.
I mean, go bishop d6 maybe, attacking the knight to
Bishop
infiltrate.
d6, yeah, because if bishop g6, there's rook takes f8. I think that's might be winning. Well, it's still
Yeah.
quite complicated. There's queen takes if everything's hanging. Okay, bishop
Yeah, he
d6.
finds it. Yeah.
Are we
nice.
gonna see bishop g6? No, okay. This
Oh,
should
okay,
just be
now
a
simply
blunder.
takes, yeah.
Yeah, now
This
the
is-
queen's coming in. I don't think this is sustainable.
He finally got. What?
Okay,
so it's gone.
playing it a bit slow.
Queen f5. No.
Yeah, now
Queen
he's
h7
infiltrating.
now.
There's a check now.
Yeah, go there.
Okay, bishop g6 is there. There's got to be lots of winning moves. I'm sure check and taking the pawn
Check
is
and take, yeah.
winning as well. Bishop
It's
a7
One
that's
looks
bishop
really
a2
good.
already.
Okay, just one check. King goes over.
We rook a7, right?
Rook a7. Now queen check. And the king is
There
going to
must
have
be
to
some
block
tactic here.
this.
Not very sure.
Yeah, queen h8 check looks the easiest. I'm sure queen
This
d6
is
might also be winning, but no need to go for that.
this is so winning. Yeah, simple.
Takes f7.
I think he's
Oh.
afraid of the back rank.
Oh, he could have
Ooh.
gone rook takes f7, right?
Yeah, could have gone rook takes and then just
he's
slip the rook right back to f1 would have been completely fine.
yeah, he's
One
afraid of
has
the
to be
back rank.
careful here. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I was going to say queen e5 check probably would have
No.
swapped into a winning position.
Okay,
Okay,
this is
finally things kind of settled. Very professional move, queen f3, and
Yeah, now the trade can be
still
F2
not
here.
over, not completely
Queen
over.
f2 can trade the
queens.
and-
Yeah.
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 Are we
Takes.
gonna say c5 and another strong d pawn?
Well, yeah, make
Wouldn't be
sure
the
to not
first time
blunder the
Finn's
back
done
rank
that.
there.
Oh no.
Fortunately, h3 has been played, offering luft for white.
Yeah, I want to say it's not completely over, but these
pick up
pawns on
the
light
h6
squares is
pawn,
going to
right?
make it hard to play.
It's the light square bishop which really mitigates those points.
I mean, yeah, we could still see the pawn advancing up the board. In a time scramble, anything can happen.
We could.
White's pawns will be just too fast. Will be push g5 and so.
Yeah, I mean, clearly white's winning. This pawn's got the home stretch ahead of it. But, I mean, black's not without play. Okay, very clever move because there's the bishop e8 check ready to be played, winning the pawn. Yeah, I think bishop e8 check should... Ooh,
Oh, it's missed. And a3
delayed,
is on the
delayed
board.
for a little bit. I think it's,
Oh.
yeah, I think it's going to be fast enough for white.
Pins down to 2 seconds.
It is so winning that it was very difficult for white to blunder.
Yeah.
Like, she's
not
only
so
playing on
winning.
increment here, like 0 and 2 seconds. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's...
Okay.
Okay, so
Unfortunate.
the winning streak continues.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was
now
a
it's
it was
a
a
streak,
tough game
actually.
for Finn. So we'll recap a little bit. From the opening, Finn landed up in a very passive position. Wasn't able to find a good plan after reaching kind of pretty typical middle game position. I think I hinted like something like knight e4, pretty standard, trying to trade off pieces when you're lacking space. Or maybe on the next move as well after rook e8, knight e4, something like this.
Carlsbad type positions, 94 is a very common move.
Yeah, but after this knight e5 move, things already started looking a bit dangerous because the idea of f4 was introduced. And yeah, I would say bishop d6 might have been a step in the wrong direction because it's kind of you kind of want to offer the trade of these bishops instead of pointing at a knight that's going to be very firmly secure on that square. And after this big
Yeah,
blunder
here I
already
think
happened here.
knight b5 is
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, you missed
Knight
that.
b5 can't be captured.
Yeah.
Queen has to drop back. Takes, and knight
Takes,
takes
I think,
c6 or
f7.
f7. Whichever pawn you value more, you can take them. Instead, f4 was also a very strong move, just not the strongest. And the position just becomes so difficult to play because white's just got all these attacking ideas based around the strong knight. Very difficult to play. And
the problem was that black never got a pawn play.
yeah.
Yeah, I think bishop takes knight is bad move, I think.
Yeah, and this bishop takes e5, which is completely
Yeah, yeah.
horrible because it opens up all of these lines towards the black king. And not to mention there was immediately all these tactics on e6, which were pretty much just finishing off the game. It was missed about 4 or 5 times. Every time that the e6 square was vacant, pawn to e6 was possible. But it never really felt in doubt. It felt like always, even if white was missing the strongest moves, the position was so good that it was impossible to not win. Okay.
We can have the next game.
Player from Adelaide.
Yeah.
I'll just check on the list who we're waiting for.
We have Navankur, right? That explored.
Okay. So we're waiting
Hello,
for
Navankur.
James. But I think
Hello,
James
guys.
was having trouble, so James
Lot of
probably
pressure.
can't join.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah.
We'll take
Yeah.
the point. Just kidding. Like someone
So
else can play.
I
think.
I'm assuming he's ready to play, but he was having trouble like connecting with his camera and stuff.
Oh, okay. So he isn't
I
being able
think
to
it's
join the
2.5, right?
Yeah, 2.5, 4.5. Is he having trouble joining the meet, or is it?
Trying to see.
You can challenge him. You'll be doing that.
Yeah, so should I go ahead and challenge him?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'll just leave my audio then.
Yeah, go ahead and send the challenge. I can see he's online on chess.com.
Leave the audio, Navankar, and challenge. Yes.
All right. James is just getting his Zoom sorted.
There's something in the match there, right? We just need 2 more wins and then hopefully we'll be able to tap.
I mean that would be actually insane. Like if we again get a 5-5 tie.
Yeah, like that would be a big comeback.
Because we were like 4.5, right?
Yeah, yeah. So 3 games left there. Yeah. University of Adelaide only needs to win one to like win that match. We need to actually win 6.
Yeah, we need to win all of them. Yes.
Yeah. Navankur, have you sent the challenge?
Okay, looks like James is joining now.
Okay.
All right, and we've got him in the call.
Yeah, I think James, you can start the game if you've got the challenge.
Yeah.
And then leave the computer audio.
Put James on camera.
I've sent the challenge.
Yeah, so once you've joined the game, James, just leave the Zoom audio so you can't hear us.
You'll be able to mute us all.
Yeah. He looks a bit stressed. I think he hasn't sorted it all out yet.
James, have you got the challenge?
Looks like it's playing.
All right. Looks like the game started. All right, so here we go. We're trying to stop the bleeding, stop the loss streak. So got a standard Italian here. Yeah, c3 is the most played move. Just taking control of d4 square. And now after knight f6 from black, white's got a couple choices. Okay, we see d6. It should also be playable. Take, and check. Maybe instead of check, dropping the bishop back was also an option. Now after knight c3, yeah, after knight c3, it looks like white kind of got this big center here for free.
It's pressures it on him.
Yeah, so
e4 pawn is hanging right now.
e4 pawn's hanging. I'm looking at this option of playing pawn to d5 though.
You could castle, right?
Castle, castle, maybe rook e1 or bishop d3.
James gambits for pawns, seemingly.
Rook e1 seems very natural there. Rook e1, bishop e3, and maybe you could even pin the knight, right?
Yeah, white definitely has a strong center, but it's also a big responsibility. We can see that bishop g4 is coming. There's going to be rook e8. Both these pawns are under attack, but if white can consolidate, it should be an advantage. So it's not clear that actually bishop takes, g takes is such a disaster for white. So maybe white doesn't have to respond to the threat on this kind of pawn here.
So white counterattacks. I was also looking at d5 followed by bishop d3, reinforcing the e4 pawn.
Yeah.
After, say, knight a5 by
It's
black.
Possible, but d5 I'd be kind of worried about. Knight e5 maybe.
Sure.
Or take f3, then knight e5, something like that. Okay, we see it. Well,
Yeah, then
we're about to see why I didn't want this.
Probably bishop e2 has to be played.
Bishop e2 has to be
And he
played.
finds it.
Yeah, the problem was black was lacking a lot in space, but now they're able to kind of trade off a few pieces and the space advantage doesn't matter anymore. And now
also now, yeah, e4 pawn becomes a perpetual weakness, I guess. Or
Yeah.
you'll have to play f3 and then like dark squares are a bit weakened.
Yeah,
Black has the
exactly.
dark squares as well.
Yeah, weak pawn, weak square, and extremely strong bishop over here. Once it slips back to b6, it'll be the really strong Italian bishop.
Maybe white could just trade knights there. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I would have expected the knight trade. I'm still expecting probably the bishop to just slip back, or I guess there's a lot of concern happening about this e4 pawn. White is worried about it.
Maybe something like queen c2.
c2. I mean, white's kind of looks like they're consolidating. They're able to get like a knight trade, bishop on g3. Maybe later you might even be able to start pushing your pawns, but it's kind of a long way away.
Hey, g5 is played.
Yeah, I don't like it so much. Just bishop g3. Maybe knight takes e5 could be playable.
I think black needs to trade pieces now because otherwise try to take on e5.
Okay, it's quite a lot of options now. I was going to say even knight d4 could be an option. And probably I'd play it right here. Knight d4, just keeping the pieces on the board and looking at some really good squares.
I quite like that move. It's threatening to go to f5 as well, if not traded.
Yeah.
It's founded, so...
Yeah, so if this bishop gets traded, then actually you could go to f5 with an intermediate check as well.
I think that you should take the knight right now. That knight would be very strong.
I agree. I think this knight is too strong to be tolerated. It should probably be captured right now. But I mean, having said that, the queen kind of powerfully lined up here. It's not all roses after trading off the knight.
True.
Yeah, okay, good trades. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I think black certainly played this the best they could have.
Yeah, I think that was black's best option, but the problem with the f5 square is a long-term one. I'm looking at an option of routing the knight.
h4 here, like is h4 a move here? Not very sure.
Yeah, f3 is a good move, and you really have to watch out for knight d1, knight e3, knight f5. So black is actually in quite large strategic danger at the moment.
I think black should put the king on f8 and go with the knight to g7.
That may be black's plan here with knight h5.
Yeah, knight h5 is a really good move, just locking down on these dark squares. Maybe even trying to bring the queen up and maybe offer a queen trade at some point could be an idea. Okay. Knight f4 looks good. I would have probably just left the bishop on g3 so it was controlling the f4 square and still go for the plan of bringing the knight around. Now the knight on f4 is quite strong. It's really hard to get rid of it.
You need to move the king with the as black because you need to unpin your knight, I guess.
Yeah, king g8 looks like a very solid move.
Hmm.
Okay, a6. Kind of
That's
neutral.
probably just just a waiting with the
Yeah, using time pressure.
it's strong.
Okay, yeah, so the character of the positions changed quite a lot. Oh,
Yeah, he's
oh my
threatening.
god, yes, break the pin.
Oh, he's moving.
This is a very dangerous situation.
Achha.
Okay, king g2.
Right.
King g2, king g6. King's being very brave. I was going to say, it looks like white should start trying to apply some pressure on the c file here,
Okay.
which is what's
Yeah.
happening. So black's probably looking to offer a queen trade in the near future. Okay. So a little tickle on the a pawn. Might have to just protect with a rook. We'll play a5. And I'm looking at maybe even black could start trying to start some attack, pushing the pawns.
Ooh,
Okay.
f4.
Interesting.
Okay,
Take
the
the
white
bishop.
position is very loose.
True.
Yeah, I didn't really like this transformation.
But you now lose the c7 pawn as
C7 pawn's hanging, but look at this king on f2. It's
yeah.
not very happy.
Oh,
And
okay. Now,
G,
yeah.
yeah. This is it's actually going to drop the G pawn by
Nice.
force.
Yeah.
Okay, throw in a few more checks.
Oh, nice. What?
Okay.
Oh, I
Maybe
nice.
not the most optimal way to play, but certainly black's still in the driver's seat.
Now you lose the nice. Now you lose the g3 pawn.
You could have blocked right with the look.
Still
Take
think
G3
white got out of that.
Even activating the king here is an option,
What?
keeping the pawn. That's a
Why did
bit of a strange move, rook a3.
True.
But okay, it's safety first. It's eliminating white's potential pass pawn
Oh, okay, he
and
flags.
the win on
Yes.
time.
Wow.
3.5,
So-
4.5.
The
That's
reverse sweep is continuing.
It got three
we are back.
consecutively.
We are back. That was unexpected, honestly.
This has been
Nice.
some comeback, all right.
Yeah, so quick review of the game. So after the opening, white had a nice advantage, but very big strategic mistake here. Pawn to d5, giving up all the dark square control. Something I mentioned which might have been very concerning for white is the idea of bishop takes f3, g takes f3, but I think that's not something you have to be too worried about because it would actually reinforce your center, and then you would only have to worry about defending the d pawn, which would be very easy at, and you can play easy moves like king h1, rook g1, and it would be a large advantage. Instead, after d, trouble on the dark squares. Some concerns about this pawn. But knight d4 was a fantastic move, and I feel like white managed to secure an advantage here because black overextended their g-pawn, and I was really angling for this knight d1, knight e3 maneuver basically as soon as possible. And I think combined with the pressure on the c file, white should still have an advantage. Okay.
In the penalty round, let's go. Who is playing this one?
I think Prakhar is playing this one. Prakhar Upadhyay is playing.
Okay.
Yeah, so we should have our second Sam coming in. You can see him connecting now, and I've dropped his username in the chat.
Has he joined the meet?
Yeah, he has.
The players are in the mute.
Okay, so some fun information about Sam for everyone. He is an arbiter for the local chess association,
Oh,
which is a very young player. I'm not actually sure the age at which he started being an arbiter, but definitely in the teens.
Very
that's
nice.
interesting.
Yes. What's his age, right? You mentioned he was young.
He started when he was young, right? Like,
I'm not
what
sure
is he?
actually his age right now.
No, what is he pursuing? Like, which degree? Right.
Oh,
engineering, I believe.
Yeah, I think
Okay, the
I
undergrad.
think he's first year at the moment.
Oh, undergrad.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
So 17 at the
you
moment.
can challenge him. You'll be playing as right here. Hello, Proctor, can you hear me?
I'll give him a call.
Yeah, I can see now Sam is born in 2006 and being an arbiter for at least a year, probably 2 years. So very good stuff. All right, let's see. Okay, it looks like the game started. All right. So opening up with a Grunfeld defense here from Sam. First time I've seen this in this tournament. And the quiet E3 variation from white. So one of the main themes in the Grunfeld defense is black is going to be looking to apply pressure to this D4 point. And we're going to see very shortly a pawn go to C5, try to undermine the white center.
He's played the quiet variation. Like, he could have played the tactically the south variation, but he's chosen to play it.
Yeah, so a very quiet, solid approach from white here. And I would definitely still be interested of going for the C5 break. Because C5, white can't really capture the pawn because of knight to E4. And
E3 is very interesting because like you open up the diagonal for your own bishop, but it also opens up the other diagonal.
Yeah, B3 is quite double-edged move, looking to develop, but also opening yourself up. After C6, yes, it's a way to play, but I don't think it's the most active. And white is going to probably be able to finish development without too much troubles now. So position's probably a bit level. I think black might have missed a chance to take over the initiative with C5. E5 is a extremely aggressive move. I'm wondering what's the big deal with knight takes? Are we angling for some like rook e1 and trying to get some trickery going on the e file? Also, might not be anything wrong with
I did not see that one because
I think he calculated pawn takes. He did not see knight takes. I think might have missed that.
it could happen.
Yeah, could have also been a mouse slip, maybe. I don't know. E6 was the intention.
Oh, he takes with the pawn.
Taking with a pawn, I feel like it gives black a bit more play. You know, you can go knight g4. We're hitting this pawn. Things might open up a bit. It's possible black will end up down a pawn anyway, but at least black has lots of lines open for their pieces here. Okay, knight e4 also possible. It's going to be a very strange position with all of these e pawns after the knight trade.
I think black can trade the knight and the queen here and be a pawn up, play a pawn up endgame.
They can also play knight g5. And f5 isn't possible because of en passant. in order to recapture the e4 pawn.
Knight g5. You mean after all these trades?
After takes, queen
I
takes
follow
rook
you.
d8. Yeah.
Taking on d5.
Okay, I was going to say that might have been an option to slip in queen a5 or something there, hitting the knight, but instead we reach this position
rather quickly.
Yeah. You have to say, it feels like, okay, white's a pawn up, they have to be better, but at the same time, the pawn's quite weak, and black has really knight c6, rook e8, bishop g4, so black's got pretty good chances of getting the pawn back. So it might actually end up that the story becomes more about this d5 pawn, and even after winning the pawn back, the d5 pawn might just be a very weak, isolated pawn. Okay,
he pins that.
but yeah, white's really interested in keeping their e5 pawn, and it looks like they're going to do it successfully after a trade here.
Yeah, actually now put the bishop on d4 and put the rook on c1 and get some pressure on.
I was going to say, maybe I would have liked to see h3, just stopping this bishop g4. Maybe bishop g4 should still be okay for black. Yeah, bishop b2 is quite a strange move, a bit passive, kind of completely unnecessary.
I think bishop g4 is probably the way to go, and it seems to have been found.
Yeah, you win back the pawn.
You do, yes.
Yeah, you're winning back the pawn, but still white's keeping some initiative, rook c1, some pressure here.
There you go.
Yeah, even winning back the pawn is still going to be a better pawn structure for white. I wonder, are we going to see, hard to say, something like queen b6 maybe?
Protects the queen.
Yeah, queen d7 as well. It's a bit more of a passive square than b6, but yeah, again, black position isn't too bad.
Double
Maybe
the
we'll
rooks
see.
on.
Yeah, maybe
Double
we'll
the
see
rooks
like
on
a hanging pawn structure if black can get rook c8 and c5.
Okay, so we are going for this line.
It's going to be an interesting endgame because black is 2 pawns in the center, white has a queen side resolve.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad for black. Not such a huge fan of that move. I was thinking you could put the rook on e6 and start pushing the a pawn to activate this rook, and it would be quite solid. Putting the pawn on f5, it just exposes your king in the long term. It's always going to be a problem on these diagonals. Feels like it just made the position a lot easier to play for white.
White's plan here is to go with c1 attempt and double the rooks on this side.
Yeah, I think we're going to see rook c1. The queen might drop back to d1, come into d4, something like that.
We might get an Alekhine spin.
Yeah, we might actually.
It's one move away.
Okay, poking in some squares on this diagonal. Also, kind of have to watch out. There's going to be rook takes d5 threats on the table. If we see a queen c3, rook takes d5 is always there.
I think black is holding everything pretty well, so I don't think the way to penetrate through the position.
I think like white should have tried to penetrate through the king side there. Okay.
Like with something like g4, what do you mean? Like,
no, with the queen, with the queen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, try to basically get some attack on the 8-7 pawn with the queen.
Yeah,
they're very low on time.
We might see like an h pawn running up the board, create some trouble over there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but like white is continuing to pressure the c6 pawn, but it's very well protected, so I don't think there's any point here.
Yeah, I mean, if we just saw the
what
that is very interesting.
Okay.
So maybe
King
queen
f2 maybe.
I think he's forgetting.
Two. Getting
no.
very loose for both sides.
Play F5. No. Okay.
D4 I like.
King F2. One player might flag. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, just made the move.
2 seconds each. Positions
Both
can be
players are
really
playing on increment
insane.
here.
If black
What is
plays
happening?
like rook takes e3, white will flag. Oh, oh no.
What is happening
Oh,
here?
okay.
Yeah, he
He's
does it.
going.
He does it. Yeah, he takes with the
So
king.
now
Nice.
rook
Good
takes
awareness.
c6.
Oh, rook.
Push
Yeah.
for
Rook,
H.
Rook takes
rook,
c6.
rook, rook,
Oh,
rook.
the queen.
Oh,
Rook takes
he
c6.
Oh,
does.
no.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, that is
Oh,
what I was
yes.
saying, because there was always that threat there.
Oh
Wow.
no, we have actually tied the scores.
Let's go. We won 4.
That was a
Oh
crazy
my.
time scramble.
Yeah. So at
So
the end, both players were playing only on increment. That
yeah,
was very
players were playing
crazy.
on increment for quite a while. It was impossible to say what was going on. I just wanted to say back earlier, I think white exposed their king way too early. I would have liked to
Yeah.
have seen back in a position like this, like you give a
Yeah.
check, the king comes back, and now you go queen c3, which would be a position we hadn't seen yet. And here you already have to be a bit alert because rook takes d5 as a threat. And yeah, I think like deal with the threat somehow. I don't even really see a way to stop it. I guess you protect the pawn with your queen. Then I was thinking like you just run up the h pawn, create like some play on another front, and it looks so hard to defend for black.
Actually, now the last game is going crazy.
So the
Like all
scores
3 results are
now,
possible right now.
yeah, so the scores now all tied up, right? And then it's all going to come
Yeah.
down to the last game. And we've got Gerardo playing for Adelaide.
Monk, can you hear me?
So the username is Tetsu the Cat, and I think we can see Tetsu the Cat in the profile picture that just joined on Zoom.
So Umang, you'll be playing black. You can challenge.
Oh, okay, I'm trying.
The format is 3+2.
Tension is unbearable. Let's see.
Okay.
So we've got Gerardo in here.
Hi.
Giving us a little wave.
So just waiting for the players to start the game, and then yeah, we'll have everyone disconnect. Well, we'll have the players disconnect from the audio and get underway. It's a very exciting finish, leaving the lowest rated players for last, because it's going to be the most out of control games.
Yeah, there'll be some excitement for sure.
All right, here we go, waiting to start. So it all comes down to this, and I can see
Umang
Umang only
Tetsu the
has
Cat.
2 bars of connection. The game is aborted. Okay.
Oh, he didn't make a move.
So we're gonna wait for a rematch, make sure the colors are all right.
So Umang versus Tetsu the Cat. Let's see.
That's
just to raise the tension even more, drag things out.
Can't hear you. So like, I think your mic is off. Are you trying to say something?
Oh, okay. Sorry. So we've got a game going.
Oh, nice.
Excuse me.
What? Do we
So-
already have a fork?
Center
Yes.
fork
Yeah,
trick,
actually-
it appears.
So we'll quickly
Yeah,
catch up on
we-
the game. We had an Italian once again, and the
Oh,
center
okay.
fork trick.
Okay. It's-
So black's temporarily sacrificing a piece, but they're going to get it back. Normally you'd reach positions like this without the extra little h6 move played. Might be a pretty important loss of tempo here, as we see white's already castled, got pressure on the e file, and ready for a d4 strike right now.
And
Does
it's
it?
found.
Whatever you do, just don't hang the queen. That's all.
So similar to last game, we're going to have an extra e5 pawn for white. That one looks
Yeah.
like it's going to be captured. The queen on d1 is protected right now by the knight, so no issues with an overloaded rook. I think we're just going to have to see the bishop move. Get out of the attack.
C5 seems nicer.
What is it?
Yeah,
He's
bishop
going to
d4.
win the line. So
We could see maybe just the calm bishop d2, followed by trying to kick the bishop away. Keep all the pawn structure intact.
Bishop e2, then rook e8. To,
Yeah. Bishop
Then-
d2, rook e8, a3.
Bishop a5, maybe. Bishop e7.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
e5
bishop
isn't
d2.
hanging.
already the position seems very open. Room for a lot of tactics, I think.
Very
In the
Yeah.
true.
future.
We could see again, similar to last game, like bishop g4 coming out, trying to undermine this pawn. It's definitely not the best extra pawn. Okay,
That's true.
It's found.
g4 is there, so you do have to worry a bit actually about this guy. So there's a bit of an issue now with capturing on
Probably
f3 being a threat.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Rook e3, perhaps?
Yeah, I was looking at like rook e3, rook e4. Maybe even knight e4 be a move. Maybe not. Maybe you just bite the bullet and play bishop f4 and say that your pawn structure is going to be completely ruined everywhere, but it will be an extra pawn.
Yeah, it's a tough
Nice
decision to make.
moves.
Yeah,
So rook e3 is like, oh, rook e8. That was played quite quickly, but
Yeah.
maybe it's a very reasonable move. So there could be a chance to slip in like rook d3 here. Okay, h3 kind of forcing matters. Yeah, I think the position's going to level out quite a lot. This pawn's going to be captured, and it looks very even.
Gerardo is under a minute in that.
Gerardo is under a minute in a pretty even position, and the position's a little bit more awkward for white to play because this rook's not very well
Yeah.
coordinated. You'd love it if your rook was kind of just back on e1 and not in the way of anything.
He could have gone to g3 and like threatened the capture of the h6 pawn.
Nice
Okay.
move. Take the dark square bishop.
Yeah,
Good.
I want to see rook d3, but you have to watch out that b2 is hanging in some lines.
I don't think black is going to play that easy.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we won't
that would
see it
be
now, but maybe on the next move after the queen moves, it could be something that gets blundered.
uh,
We could also see the bishop drop back and maybe even some attacking ideas start appearing for black.
Queen f6 maybe right now, or queen e7.
Yeah.
don't blunder the queen.
Yeah, pretty tense right now.
Okay, knight
Ooh.
takes b2, not
What?
played.
No, knight
But-
d5, knight
Oh,
d5.
it's found
Knight
it.
d5
my
is
It's
played.
found it.
It's just
Wow.
insane.
This is a
Wow.
bishop at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
This, I
Yeah, it's gonna
suggested
be
queen
it's
e7.
gonna be a lot of material.
I completely forgot about that movement.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
that's bad because now it's
Oh,
captured
That's
the
even
tempo
worse
as
for
well.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy.
Oh.
Okay, he takes
But
the
Oh,
doesn't
knight
fire the
b2.
bishop takes.
No,
Knight b2 is
Yeah,
back on the
knight
board.
Knight takes
Knight
b2,
is
but he'll
b2.
take the bishop, I think. He'll take the. Please take the p2 pawn. Come on.
Knight is b2.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he found
it
it.
does
is.
it.
Yeah.
It does it.
Let's
It
go.
does it.
Rook
Maybe-
c3
But now rook
doesn't
c3
work because queen takes b4.
Oh,
So
right.
you just have to move your queen.
Nice.
Okay.
He
Maybe
gets
take
the
back.
queen.
Don't hang the queen. Don't hang the queen.
Probably gonna see another trade.
If
Yep.
he oh yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
they did it.
I think okay, good move.
Dominating the knight.
So I think
now-
Uman's plan should be to flag Gerardo.
Look,
Yeah. I feel like in a blitz game, it's so much easier to coordinate the rooks here, even though I'm sure there's an objective
true.
advantage for
Oh,
white.
no, he
the rook's
hangs up.
hanging.
Oh!
Oh no.
Chaos!
Oh
Oh, no.
my god.
What is happening? We've
Okay,
blundered
but
yet
still
another
only
piece.
16 seconds.
Oh,
We
we
haven't
don't
seen
even have
any
a
impressive
pass.
speed so
He'll
far.
hang the don't hang the other rook.
Uh,
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Like we don't even have a
That's
passive right now.
not the. He does have bishop c3 after f6, but
Bishop c3,
Oh,
only move.
He'll
Okay,
found
good
it.
enough.
Don't trade the rooks. Don't trade the rooks. Come.
rook d8,
Good.
yeah.
smart move. d4 has to be played, I think.
Play d4, rook d3.
Or rook.
Okay, rook d1. 10 seconds. The time's still counting down. He's not gaining any time on the increment here. He
I
really
think
needs to
Umang needs
start
to-
building it up.
He needs to pre-move everything.
7 seconds, 6 seconds.
Oh,
I
yes,
mean,
yes.
it's going to be very, very tense. Like, I almost got a heart attack when he hung the rook.
6. Okay, we're seeing some time being gained.
You
It's
need
not
to take
just
your
going down.
medications. They just.
I'm only like 20.
Oh my
It's going on a
god.
big adventure. Please just put it back on f3. Keep everything protected.
Come on, Gerardo,
what's
gain some
happening
time.
here?
Put the
Yeah.
knight on e5. Come on.
Time to move. Let's see a rook move.
Oh
Okay, knight
god.
going back.
Actually, this is.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh!
Oh god! That was a goal.
Another
Yeah.
four. Okay, it's still winning position.
What is happening?
He was having a lot of trouble with the knight. Now it's gone. You don't have to worry about it.
Don't take
Oh,
that
yeah,
pawn.
Take the ball. Take the ball.
Don't take that
the
pawn.
ball.
Rook d2 is fine.
Four.
Oh
Okay.
god!
Oh,
Yeah,
what is
everything was
happening?
fine.
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh,
it has to be takes. He has to take.
Trade it.
Oh, he's
He's
flagging.
flagging.
He's flagged.
Oh,
no.
let's
Oh no.
Oh god!
Wow.
That
That
had
was
so
down
many
to the
twists
wire.
and turns.
Yeah.
I
What a
thought
game.
for sure that he was going to flag, but then he started building up time. It looked so good. The time kept building up. I thought, okay, he's got this.
Oh my god! That was insane.
Like,
Five,
yeah,
Alright.
that was.
5-game winning streak. Come on, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
were losing in at least 2-3 of them, I guess.
Yeah, we
Insane.
actually flagged in 2 of the games, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to give congratulations to IITK though. That was some comeback, gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That was unexpected, honestly. after the 3-0 start. I was
listen.
I thought this was
Let-
gonna be a clean sweep, something like that.
Listen, we sure had some interesting games tonight. That is
Yeah, we
no
did.
denying that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, even this game, it was open from the start, and like there were a lot of tactics, especially with the bishop coming out to g4.
It was, yeah. I think I half expected black to play knight takes b2 on that one move and blunder rook takes d8 and then rook takes e8.
Yeah, so we had a very tense middle game around here. Black was quite comfortably winning back the pawn, and so it should just be an equal position, you know, if you look at the pawn structure, completely symmetric. But some kind of tactics started flaring up after this knight c4 move, and there was a huge blunder in this position, queen e7 walking into a fork. I guess queen f6 would have also been a blunder, but basically any other queen move, like queen h4, c8, I mean, anything else would have been fine. Or dropping the bishop back to d6, also fine. All fine. Queen e7, huge blunder. Knight takes b4, very impractical move. Bishop takes, keep all your pieces centralized, looking great. After knight takes, we had the very tricky knight takes b2, and suddenly things are completely unclear after these trades.
After we blundered the rook, I was sure we were gonna win. So it happened like every time.
The more blunders, the better the chance of winning, apparently.
I love that.
And so things are just so unclear here. Like the pieces don't coordinate very well. Black has no weaknesses in the position. Rooks are very active. But rook to a2, a horrible blunder. I think it's like it's some kind of psychological trick, because it's like rook a2, so rook e2, attacking the pawn, and white goes, pawn's attacked, I'll move it away from being attacked. And so black says, oh, they were respecting my threat on the pawn, so I'll just go to that square because it was a safe square to go to.
And I think his message just he's saying that it was a mouse slip.
I mean, in time trouble.
But okay, it can't be a mouse slip because there's just nowhere for this rook to go. The rook has,
everywhere it's a split.
No safe squares.
I mean, in time trouble,
we have to go all the way back to e6 to find a safe square for the rook.
Maybe it was like checking all the legal moves, like by click on the piece.
Right. Okay.
I mean, sometimes in time trouble, it's like very hard to find like backward knight moves.
Oh, certainly.
It gets tricky.
Yeah, and it showed the advantage of not really having any weaknesses in your position, that white was struggling to find like a good plan.
That was very crazy. Like he missed the fork by
he missed the fork 2 times, I think, and then lost the knight. That knight dance was insane.
If you want to plan, just like attack this pawn, and you should be doing well. But we got to this situation with the completely horrible king e6 walking into the fork.
Oh God.
Which was completely missed in favor of king f5 walking into the other fork.
I mean, look,
I think Gerardo,
the knight hang, and from here,
I think Gerardo was just trying to like not get flagged. I mean,
Gerardo was really struggling on the clock. And here, really just got a trade off, and I feel like this would be a pretty easy position to win in time trouble, because after, say, if we do this trade, this pawn's on a dark square. All of these pawns are on dark squares. G5 is going to happen. It should be not too hard to win. But that's not what happened. Instead, the game ended. There was no more moves played after king to d6. Maybe thinking about whether to take. King e4 looks like it might work, but actually there's a check, take, and skewer. So maybe thinking about all these things, Gerardo lost on time and lost the match. So yeah, well done to everyone, and thank you to IITK for hosting this. I actually have to head off now, but thanks for the great event, and looking forward to all of the great things that your club does in the future. I love all the great events I've been seeing.
Yeah, thank you to
Thank you,
University
and
of Auckland as well, and especially
it's
thank you to
Adelaide
Kyle.
actually.
Yeah, Adelaide, that's what it is.
You never know. One day we may even get a UOA versus ITTK free. It's not off the table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
I want
rematch.
to. Yeah, sure, definitely. I actually want to thank Kyle as well. Your commentary was awesome, and
Sure was.
actually, so I want to let you know about one other thing. So we, as a club, organize this our flagship event, which is CMPL, so Chess Masters Premier League. Okay, so this is an annual event where we basically invite a lot of universities, like mostly are from India, but from abroad as well. So we look forward to inviting you as well. So it will be somewhere around like last week of March and first week of April. So what are your thoughts on that?
That sounds fantastic. I'm sure we'll have a lot of members excited. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to having you as a commentator there as well. Like your commentary was awesome. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We'll do that. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right. Goodbye. And
We'll
See
head
you,
off.
fellas.
Yeah, goodbye. Yeah. All the best. Bye.
Hi guys, we are your streamers for the day. Thanks for tuning in.